Welcome back. I've got a half a winner interview and half not a winner interview, Raptor.
Yeah. Well, I get to interview the person who defeated me. It's great.
Yeah, that was a unique match where we actually thought, Andrew, that you were losing game two until we realized that Den Protector could just get gigantic. So
Yeah, it was a little bit unclear how I was going to win game two. That was the first match I ever played with my deck, so there were a lot of lines of play to think through that it was a little unclear what to do.
yeah, I think sacrificing the Eidolon of Blossoms was surprised us a little bit. And had you had like one Murderous Cut in your deck, it would have been pretty easy to win game one, I think.
Yeah, I didn't really expect Raptor to kill me the turn he did in game one. I didn't.
True.
I thought that his morph was probably a Den Protector from the way he had played. I wasn't thinking about Teamer Charger.
Nobody expects the Teamer Charger.
Yeah.
Yeah, like once you played the Elvish Mystic before combat and attacked me, I knew I was dead. But I definitely was not expecting to die the turn I did. I thought I was going to win pretty easily.
Yeah, I think once you saw more of the deck in game two, it made sideboarding a little easier for game three, especially with like Doom Lake Giant, which I don't know if it was in your deck after game one.
No, I didn't bring it in for game two. I wasn't thinking about the Conifer Strider. I thought the game was going to be more about like Death Mist Raptors and fighting over the morphs, which I guess it could have been like that if Raptor had a better draw.
Yeah.
You mulliganed
Yeah.
both games, right?
I did. I don't think that I'm actually like really beating you very often with just like the morphs. Seems like you go over the
Yeah.
top of that pretty effectively.
Well, my deck really doesn't have all that much top end in it. I was very committed to playing with Dictative Erebos, so I didn't put other expensive cards in my deck.
Yeah, that one definitely caught me by surprise. I thought you were casting a Boon Satyr that turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and technically you could have gone for the win that turn. Maybe had you played a pre-combat Satyr Wayfinder, but I guess Dictative Erebos was not on your radar.
I was a mana short, wasn't I?
Uh, you could have, depending on how he blocked, played Teamer Battle Rage, then played Become Immense if he didn't block one of your guys.
Yeah, yeah.
But it turned out he actually blocked both your guys. So, but yeah, going for ultimate price there seemed a little odd. Like, did you have a specific target in mind, Andrew, or are you just assuming that it would be able to just stop you from losing to like a random Teamer Battle Rage fueled attack?
Yeah, I thought the way that the game had developed, I was going to probably win unless he did, like a big combo with Teamer Battle Rage. So I thought as long as I got ultimate price, I would probably win unless he was able to set it up on Conifer Strider. And
Yeah.
I was just going to block the Conifer Strider with the Sidisi,
Right,
force
right.
him to just have multiple Battle Rages to beat me. It looked like it was going to be like that might not work when he then immediately milled the two Death Mist Raptors, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looked like you might have been able to grind Danger out that game, but it turned out that Den Protector actually has other abilities.
yeah.
Those other abilities are like part of why it's so good in the deck that I was playing too. Like,
Yeah, yeah, you can pre-combat, become immense, and just attack.
yeah.
Yeah, Den Protector, one of the best cards in Standard. Clearly, it's kind of broken out at this point.
Yeah, it turns out its evasion ability is very real.
Yeah, it just
Like,
ignores a lot of cards, like Corsair, for example.
Also, just like anything that pumps it, and it turns Den Protector into like a legitimate threat.
Yeah,
And once Protector is a legitimate threat, like it's so good.
yeah, you get to just Abzan Charm it and just like smash for 5.
Yeah, if they have to do if they have to do things like kill your Den Protector, then your other Den Protector just gets back to the Den Protector, and you just get to go off.
Yeah. All right. I guess Andrew, you're battling next round, so we're gonna let you go. We're gonna take a look at the bracket before we start our next round here. We can do that.
Okay.
So good luck next round.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. So we had Tom Ross advance past Owen to play Gerry, who beat Brad. So we've got Mono Red against Red Green All Dragons. And then Cuneo beat Josh, and he gets to battle Paul, who's playing Red Green Devotion, which looks like it might go over the top of the Black Green Dictative Erebos deck, but we'll see how that ends up happening. So, and looks like the last week's winner cannot repeat. So Gerry's the person who can end up with the most match points, I believe, after this week, since he made the finals last week and he could win this week.
Yep. So do you have any predictions for how these semifinals are going to go?
Um, I think that Gerry actually is looking pretty decent against Tom. He's got 4 Knightly's Disciple in his sideboard, 2 Dragonlord
Okay.
Jamoka in the main, one on the board, and he has like 16 mana creatures, so including coursers and the 2/3 Shaman of Forgotten Ways. So I think that actually is pretty good against the red Impact Tremors deck. And then I actually think that Qian is just going to be able to overpower Andrew here since he's got an actual top end instead of like Dictative Airbow, Strength of the Fallen kind of shenanigans. Yeah, this is Gerry's deck. It's literally 4-seed and unwritten, 14 dragons, lands, and mana creatures. That is it. That's the only thing the deck has. It has no interactive cards, but he gets to side and feed the clans too. Like he's actually got a lot against mono red in the sideboard.
Yeah, he is definitely ready for this matchup.
Yeah, this matchup looks pretty good for Gerry, I think. I mean, mono red obviously can just always get a draw that can beat you. But
Yeah, if it wasn't for the sideboard cards, I think I would take Tom, but I
right,
think
yeah,
the sideboard
the
cards
sideboard.
are gonna swing things quite a bit.
Yeah, take a look at Tom's deck here. He's got Impact Tremors, Red Creatures, and Token Makers, and Burn Spells, and 20 Mountains. So actually, it looks like we're going to head down to the matches. So we'll be back next week with you, Josh, and hopefully you got a sweeter deck at that point. Alrighty. So let's take a look here at what this matchup is looking like. Gerry being on the play is a pretty big advantage here. And so it looks like Randy was unable to get back into the call still. So Gerry didn't. It looks like Gerry mulliganed and doesn't have a 2-drop, and then his 3-drop might just die to Stoke. So actually, it looks like Tom's going to run Gerry over pretty quickly this game. Let me resummon the Raptor then if Randy's unable to grab. If we're unable to get Randy back on the call here. Yes, we do. Here, we'll turn it to a slightly different 2A giant. I'll be right back. So, alrighty, so Gerry didn't have a 2-drop, though he was on the play. Tom had 1-drop into 2-drop into 3-drop into Stoke, and Gerry doesn't really have any creatures he can cast because Seed the Unwritten doesn't actually work here. So
Gerry did not keep a very large hand.
No, Gerry did not keep a very large hand.
I did it, I think.
All right.
Do not understand all what happened, but here we are.
All right, looks like we're back. So our booth ranged from 0 to 3 people over the course of this broadcast. But so you're coming in the semis here with Tom about to be up a game. Tom had a great draw here, and Gerry had a, I think, pretty bad draw, but games 2 and 3 are a lot better for Gerry anyway.
Sure.
Like Gerry's able to now play a Rattle Claw, but that's not going to do anything against a Wild Slash plus, attacking for millions, especially with the second Monastery Swift Spear.
Yeah, Tom's deck looks. I mean, at first it's like, oh, of course, Tom, he's just going to play Boss Sly. That makes sense. And then I'm like, wow, Impact Tremors. I guess we haven't gotten to see Impact Tremors. Is that a card that you expected to show up in these red decks?
No. I mean, how much damage does it need to do to be worth it? I would imagine if it does something like 4 to 5 damage, it's pretty good, but the times when it does 0 damage are the ones that are a little riskier.
Yeah.
So the real story here is that post-board, Gerry's deck gets so much better because Gerry gets to board in 4 Nyla's Disciple, 2 Feed the Clan. He could another Dragonlord Jamoka, and he could even board in Xenagos if he really wants to.
It's a good deck. Does Tom have anything?
I don't know. Tom, let's see if Tom has a whole lot for this particular matchup. I mean, obviously this wasn't exactly a matchup that he would expect, but he might have a bit here.
Well, Searing Blood seems like an auto-include against all the mana creatures, right?
Yeah. Searing Blood seems like it'll help. And then
Do you bring in the roast?
roasts. No, well, it depends. They do have deck lists, so Tom can see that Gerry has 14 dragons, 15 dragons. Seems a little less impressive though. It does kill Courser, Shaman, and Nylea's Disciple. So I could see Impact Tremors maybe not doing exactly what Tom wants, but I don't know exactly how good the card is in the deck either. So it might be that Tom does want to keep those.
That makes sense.
And then Gerry, of course, getting to take out probably his See the Unwritten seems like not the card you want exactly, since if you have a 4-power creature in play, you're in pretty good shape. And then some of the dragons, like Storm Breath, for example, is just not all that impressive here. So Gerry getting to bring in cards that are like A pluses. Like Nylea's Disciple gain 5 life is very strong, and even if it's like gain 3 to 4 life, it's still going to be a pretty big impact. And minimum it gains 2. So unless of course it gets like Lightning Strike before before the trigger resolves. But for the most part, I mean I think Tom's deck maybe gets a little bit better, but Gerry's gets a lot better. So even though Gerry is down a game, I think his post board game is a lot stronger.
Fair enough. God, the decks this week have just been kind of awesome.
Yeah,
So most interesting thing to me, I don't know, maybe this just summarizes all the craziness. Not a single island.
Yeah, I guess if Paul's not playing islands and Cuneo isn't playing islands, the other players are not players who have predilection to play those things. And like, I mean, Kibler is generally not going to be picking up islands unless it's in like a Bant deck or something.
I mean, Brad's played a fair amount of Jeskai.
True. So, also, I wouldn't be surprised if if what Brad was saying was right, then you want a more proactive deck. Then
Yeah, no, I knew
islands
that no
tend not
islands
to be
deck.
proactive.
Brad obviously hadn't seen the deck list when he made that comment, but I had, and so I kind of knew that there was this no island stat. Wow, Gerry Mulligan's into trips Nylea's Disciple.
Yeah, and whereas looks like Tom's on a one-lander unless he's got, unless he kept his other we're not seeing one of Tom's cards, and I imagine it's a land here. That's a lightning strike. So yeah, Tom's a gambling man here.
He's got a 1-drop. He's on the draw. Like, isn't one of the points of playing boss slide that you get to keep one-landers?
Yeah, he's got an Impact Tremors too, so he can do a lot of damage with that Impact Tremors.
Crazy.
Gerry also didn't have any 1-drop or small accelerants, so he drew one right as Tom drew the Wild Slash. So if Gerry's able to draw 2 lands, even if he misses once, I think he might be okay. But if he keeps missing, I guess if Tom keeps missing, Gerry has plenty of time. But
yeah,
once Gerry plays the first Nylea's Disciple, it gets much better for him because it just snowballs into more.
No third land for Gerry. No second land for Tom. All very hilarious.
At least he can activate his Crucible. Even if Gerry keeps missing, he can eventually play a Dragon Lord. Which is kind of absurd. Here comes a Lightning Mauler or Berserker. If Gerry hits a land here, he's in very good shape. Actually, Rattleclaw Mystic's pretty good, because even if Tom hits a land, Tom has 1 turn to draw it. He has to use his turn to killing it, and he's only attacking for 2.
Nope.
Yeah.
Monastery Swift Spear. Yeah, get in there. What are you going to do?
And that means that Gerry's going to get to play a Courser, which puts him in really good shape here.
I mean, Roast gives Tom a little bit of game, but it just feels like he's falling farther and farther behind.
Especially since Gerry has a bite at a land here. He hits the land, yeah.
Now Tom's got real problems.
Yeah, Tom has to hit a land and maybe potentially kill the Courser in order to attack, which means that the first Nylea's Disciple is going to come down, which means that Gerry's probably going to get to play at least the second, if not just playing Dragon Lord Jamoka. At a very healthy life total still. Gerry's going to be at 15 after this.
I mean, Tom's hand does do like 11 damage without counting attacks.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the time to do that exactly, because if he casts Lightning Strike, then he gets to attack for 4. But then Gerry gets to play another Nylea's Disciple. Tom really needs a 3rd mana, because if he could cast 2 spells in 1 turn, that would be good. Because he still wants to kill the Rattleclaw, because the Rattleclaw is still being pretty annoying here. But if you don't kill Nylea's Disciple, you're doing no damage this turn. That does not seem great.
Yeah, it seems like you have to strike the Disciple, crunch for 4, and hope it doesn't get worse.
Yeah, that seems like it. Gerry missed land drops played those two lands. You don't know anything about the rest of his hand at this point, except that he's got an Atarka, I suppose. So it looks like Tom's going to attack with those two. If I'm Gerry, I just snap off a block here.
Yeah, make him pay his mana to
Oh
trade.
yeah, make him pay the mana. You're happy to do that. You gain less life off Nylea's Disciple next turn, but this means it's so much more likely that your Rattleclaw Mystic survives.
Yeah, the Rattleclaw is the second green too.
Yeah.
There are no more disciples without the Rattleclaw.
Yeah, it's possible Gerry can just play the Shaman here, because if that lives, then Jerry's in incredible shape. Actually, if Tom draws a Mountain here and can go Wild Slash Lightning Strike, that's kind of interesting.
Oof, he drew a second Wild Slash.
Yeah, it does not quite do it unless the Shaman hops in front of something, which I don't think it will. But I think it's too dangerous to let the Shaman live here. So my guess is that Tom just goes. I guess he can attack first. It's kind of free. If he blocks the the Lightning Berserker, you get to pump it. If he blocks the Monastery of Swiftspear, you get to cast your spells. Kind of imagine Jerry's not going to block here. He's at high enough life though that he can just keep taking it. So he's happy to run this trade again and.
Yeah, it's essentially the same trade he offered last turn, right?
Yeah, the reward for having the Shaman survive is high enough that I kind of think that you'd want to trade it. Wow, so it looks like Jerry's just gonna, or Tom's just gonna go double Wild Slash here.
I kind of like it.
Yeah, it does give you the biggest chance of making sure Gerry can't cast more spells, and it's not like the Lightning Berserker is gonna do all that much this game.
Right, and you also know that gets him back down to 1 green.
Yeah.
You've already seen one Nylea's Disciple. There could easily be more.
Well, Dragonlord Dromoka is going to kind of end this game now. The Crucible got to get a second counter there during combat, so you get to play a second Nykthos as a Lotus Petal here, and then just cast Dromoka. And Tom has 2 lands in play.
Wow. Dragonlord Dromoka.
And that should just be game. I mean, Tom can play some stuff, but racing a 5-power lifelink creature seems really tough.
I don't think Impact Tremors can race that.
No. It is funny that Gerry has 3 colorless lands in play. Well, there's an Impact Tremors, so there is that. Yeah, Gerry drew the land, so now he even gets to play Nylea's Disciple here.
It's turn 9. Impact Tremors is right on time, right?
Oh, yeah. Gerry's going up to 18 here. And Tom has no attacks. An Eidolon which Gerry can't trigger.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that it came in, actually.
Yeah, I guess Tom just wants more ground creatures to attack with. I'm curious what he cut now.
Right. We didn't see any Searing Bloods.
Yeah, could be that against, Shaman, Courser, Caryatid, you don't want those, but there's Rattleclaw Mystic and Elvish Mystic.
Right.
And both of those are staying in.
Oh, not even going to let us see an Impact Tremors trigger on camera. On to game 3.
Yeah, with Gerry on the draw. I would imagine Gerry might be slightly ahead in this game, but I don't know. On the draw, it's still tough. But Nylea's Disciple just does so much work if you can resolve it.
Yeah, if he can get the Nylea's Disciple, then he wins. But it's a lot harder to do on the draw. That
it is. Whereas Tom, again, he did bring in the roasts. He's got a couple removal spells, but for the most part, it's like Tom's game plan is just not that great against Nylea's Disciple. And of course, if one of the Dragon Lords ever comes down, that's a big deal.
As we saw. And players do have their deck lists at this point. I know that we've said that a couple times. Deck lists are also posted on the net. I know the link's been floating around the chat from time to time. It's definitely a thing you guys can go check out. Play along at home. Look at some of the crazy tech that people have brought to bear this week. Turning into a Brewers Super League, I think.
All right, well, Jerry has, Rattleclaw into Shaman into Dragon Lords. That's kind of what he's looking for.
That is what the deck does. Tom's got exactly the perfect number of lands, right? 2.
Well, he's
No, one
got
drop, though.
3 3-drops in his hand, so.
Yeah, no.
I'm going to guess a third land is on the agenda here.
Fair enough.
So Jerry's looking at Dragon Lord Atarka. I don't see how you can keep Atarka here. If you resolve one of your
push.
6-mana dragons.
If you get to Dromica, you're fine, right?
Yeah.
He's just got to worry about, not drawing lands, getting his mana critter killed. Creatures. Well, there's the third land that Tom needed.
He does get to go Dragon Fodder. Jerry plays Rattleclaw. Tom can choose to whether Lightning Strike it or just play a Rabble Master. I think, obviously, if he draws like a Stoke the Flames, it becomes a lot easier.
Yeah. Second Dragon Fodder. It's not a Wild Slash, though. Yep. So, Rabble Master is the play. And how good would Impact Tremors have been this game, right?
So you play it instead of the Dragon Fodder. It would have done the same amount of damage this turn. Given that Jerry's not blocking much, I don't know if it would have outpaced Dragon Fodder here, but we'll see.
We'll see. It's kind of the question the deck asks, right?
Yeah.
Fourth land, so he can strike and fodder?
Yeah. Impact Tremors would have done less than fodder if the Rabble Master gets through, but I think Jerry would just block with the Rattleclaw Mystic, so I could see not wanting to attack with it.
I don't know. I like killing mana creatures against the dragon deck.
True.
I might offer that trade.
Yeah, one of the things is Tom doesn't have another removal spell in hand, so he doesn't have an expectation of being able to kill the Rattleclaw, so that's a reason to attack here.
Right. He declines, though. He's going to keep making more goblins, so 4 come over. Dragon Fodder makes 2 more. Up to 6. There'll be 7 to attack with next turn. And now Jerry has nothing to do at 5.
Yeah, that's probably going to be game
That
for him.
seems bad for him.
Like, that was the turn where he needed to play an Ilea's Disciple.
Yeah.
And this is the turn that Tom has to attack with Rabble Master and Jerry has to block.
Yeah. And now he'll have nothing to do on 5 next turn, barring a top deck.
Yeah.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Tom Ross going to take the Little Red Men into the finals?
Yeah, it looks like. Jerry has not drawn a spell yet.
Wow.
So.
All right, Tom Ross defeats Jerry Thompson 2-1. Let's see if we can get Tom in here and talk to him about the new deck he brought to bear. Not completely new, but got some new cool cards. Meanwhile, our other semifinal will be Andrew Cuneo versus Paul Chion. We'll get those guys set up, and hopefully we'll be able to chat with Tom while we do. Be right back.